All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's Stadium for the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little update on everything that happened down here in Santa Clara on a Thursday. Training camp practice number 7 is officially in the books, and there was a lot to talk about today, so let's get right to it and tell you all about it. Check out Pig and a Pickle, by the way, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera, and they're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. All right, let's start with who looked good in practice today. There were a number of guys, but Nick Martin, I thought, looked really good, man. He was flying around. Him and D. Winters are putting on a show. Martin on one play had a forced fumble. He's hyperactive. He flies all over the field. D. Winters had a fumble recovery, and he scooped it up and ran it into the end zone for a scoop and score. And those two guys are both playing at a really high level. And it's fun to watch Nick Martin. It's fun to watch D. Winters. They have been flying around the field making plays. And I would say Winters has the upper hand. He knows the defense a little bit better. I think he plays a little faster because of it. But, man, Nick Martin is violent. And Nick Martin is – the one thing that I love about Nick Martin is when he gets to the ball carrier, is just the receiver, the tight end, he just brings the hammer, and he is just punching out that football every single time. And you do that enough, the ball comes loose. And the ball comes loose, that's the biggest play of the game. So I like what I'm seeing out of both those guys, Nick Martin with the forced fumble today and D. Winters with the fumble recovery. The kicking competition appears to be even. Both Greg Joseph and Jake Moody appeared to go 4 for 4 today. I can't say for sure, but from my angle, but it appeared they both made all of their kicks. Only negative that I saw today of significance was CJ West went down on the field for a second. Now, he did get up and walk off, but he didn't come back. He was standing on the sidelines the rest of practice. I would imagine if it had been a serious injury, they probably would have carted him off or brought him back to the locker room. It probably was just something minor, but he didn't play the rest of practice. It happened towards the very end of practice, and then they kept West out for the final few plays. So that wasn't good to see, but I don't think it's anything serious. The rookie running back, Corey Kiner, continues to run the ball well. I mean, this guy's just explosive and fiery, and he'll twist and turn, and he just refuses to go down. I can't wait to see what Kiner looks like in games that actually matter against opponents. I have a feeling he's going to look really, really good. The number one highlight of the day, I would say it's Brock Purdy's deep ball to Demarcus Robinson. If there's one thing that we've seen in this camp, Brock Purdy's deep ball looks great. He had a deep ball the other day to Jordan Watkins, hit him 50 yards down the field with the ball in the air. Today he hit Demarcus Robinson for a deep gainer. It was easily the biggest play of the game, biggest play of the day. I think Robinson took it in for a touchdown. Very impressive arm strength by Purdy. His deep ball right now, and I asked Shanahan a little bit about it after practice, and he's like, yeah, he likes the way he's throwing the deep ball. He's got good zip. Not only that, considering how many of these receivers are relatively new to the Niners, Brock seems to be in pretty much lockstep with a lot of his receivers, which is great to see. That means that they've repped it on the field a lot. Chaz Surratt had a big hit on Ross Dwelly. He also had a sack of the quarterback. I thought it was a very good day for Chaz Surratt, the backup linebacker. Ricky Pearsall, I think, is looking better and better, and he made a really nice catch on the sideline on an out pattern, and then he made a really nice catch on the ball on a crosser where he was running this way and the ball was over here, and he kind of had to come back for it. Ricky making nice plays on the ball, and we had a chance to talk to him after practice, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but Ricky was impressive on the field today. We had a chance to talk to Kyle Shanahan, and he gave us some updates. Demo Lenore is out probably for the next 3 days with a hip injury. Jordan James is battling some form of a knee injury. I also asked him about Carter Bradley, because Carter Bradley, Gus Bradley's son, was wearing number 17. And Shanahan said they brought him in for a workout yesterday, and they liked the workout so much that they signed him. And they feel like he's, they didn't necessarily have to have a fourth quarterback. They've got Rourke, who's, redshirting this year, and you got Purdy and Jones and Mordecai. But they just felt like Bradley's workout was really, really good. And I think there's a very good chance that Carter Bradley has a good chance to beat out Tanner Mordecai possibly for that number 3 job. Mac Jones, I think, has solidified that he's going to be the number 2 quarterback. Jones has looked really good. He's on time. He's accurate. Jones, I think, is a good fit for this 49er team. But Tanner Mordecai, who I thought, probably has the strongest arm of anybody. He definitely has the greatest speed. He's probably the best physical athlete of any of these quarterbacks. He's 4.4 speed, and he's got a great arm. But he throws a very flat ball, doesn't throw it with a lot of touch. Now, neither does Carter Bradley. But Bradley, according to Shanahan, was very impressive in the workout. And so they didn't feel like they needed to sign him, but he was so impressive that they opted to sign him. So look for Carter Bradley to give Tanner Mordecai a hell of a run for that 3rd quarterback spot in the preseason. Ben Bartch returned to the action today, and Shanahan told us after practice that it's a very much an open competition at left guard between Ben Bartch and Nick Sikel to see who starts there at left guard. Shanahan was asked about Juwan Jennings, and he did confirm that the calf injury that's keeping him out right now is the same lingering calf injury that JJ dealt with in the springtime during OTAs. Shanahan was asked about CJ West, and he says, man, he's doing a really good job. I like what I'm seeing from CJ West. Said the same thing about Upton Stout. Said he's really doing a nice job. I mentioned to him that Purdy's deep ball seems on point. He had the deep ball to Watkins the other day. He had a great one today to Robinson, and Shanahan agreed, saying that he felt like Brock was throwing the deep ball really well. It's funny. Shanahan was asked, what do you guys get out of the one-on-ones? The O-line, D-line one-on-ones. And I kind of knew what he was going to say, but he's like, hey, look, we get to see guys ISO'd one-on-one and see how they do. You got to beat the man across from you. That's period. I mean, you can make an impact on the football team in a lot of different ways, but the first way is you have to beat the man across from you, regardless of position. And when you get into that O-line, D-line one-on-ones, it ain't nobody there to help you out, and it puts you in the frying pan, and it makes you up your game. And it's a big peer pressure thing. You got all your peers standing there watching you. What are you going to do? You going to fight? You going to get owned? You going to dominate? What are you going to be? How are you going to be defined? So I love the one-on-ones, and this year I really love the one-on-ones because the Niners' young D linemen, are just going full bore, and it's fun to watch. Shanahan was asked about Andy Isabella, and I mentioned this in a video we did earlier in the day that Isabella was signed, the veteran, the former Arizona Cardinal. He's been on 4 or 5 NFL teams. Shanahan was asked about what you like about him. He's like, hey, man, this guy ran in the 4.2s. I saw the 40 coming out at 4.31, but I'm sure some of the people who tested Andy Isabella coming out of UMass had him in the high 4.2s. And you can still see he can run, man. He's got big-time speed, and Shanahan was like, hey, we wanted some of that speed. And Shanahan said, we did the workout with him, and he still has that speed. So that was like my question about Andy Isabella. He's 28 right now. How much speed of that high 4.2s, low 4.3 speed has he retained? But according to Kyle, he's retained that speed. So I'll say this about Isabella. Isabella is a football player. This guy can play. This guy can make plays. This is no slouch. So, Junior Bergen's life just got more complicated because this guy is a good return guy. And this guy can play in the present. So some of these young guys who might be like, hey, think they're on scholarship, think again, man. You got the Andy Isabellas of the world, and these guys are out here for blood, and they're looking to secure a roster spot. And Isabella fielded punts today. The other guy the Niners signed was running back Amir Abdullah, the former Nebraska star who played with Detroit, I think recently with the Raiders. And they signed Abdullah and Isabella, along with Jordan Watkins, fielded punts. And all of them fielded the punts pretty well today. The Niners did sign Andy Isabella, the wide receiver, Carter Bradley, the quarterback, Amir Abdullah, the running back, and Marquez Callaway, the receiver. Callaway was also at practice today, the former New Orleans Saint. He didn't stand out to me, but I saw him running around out there, so obviously the Niners have signed him. We talked to Jair Brown after practice, and Tig is one of my favorites, and he said he was asked about Marquise Siegel, and he said, man, this guy's explosive. He said he's doing great. He's a young guy. He's got a lot of speed. He says he asks him a ton of questions, but he really is a big fan of Marquise Siegel. He also said that Pinnock has been a great addition to the secondary room. He was asked about his ankle injury, and he said he suffered from a year ago, and he said he suffered the ankle injury in the Super Bowl trying to defend Travis Kelce, and that injury lingered into last year. He acknowledged that that year 2 was a real challenge, and that he didn't rise to the occasion. He didn't have a great second year, but he's looking to have a much better third year. He says he loves where he's at right now with his communication. He says he really loves Robert Saleh. He's heard great things about Saleh. He admitted that Steve Wilks was very much his guy and that he missed Steve Wilks when Wilks wasn't here. Wilks was with Jair as a rookie, but obviously wasn't here last year as the Niners moved on to Sorensen. And it sounds like Jair really missed Wilks' wisdom. I asked him about Gus Bradley, and he's like, man, that's my guy. And you can tell this guy, the DBs know. I mean, Gus Bradley worked with Earl Thomas. Gus Bradley worked with Cam Chancellor. If you're a safety in this league, you should listen to the guy who was the guy who basically put together the Legion of Boom. And so he said, hey, man, Gus is an OG, and I think Gus is going to be a great addition to the Niners secondary. And then I thought the most interesting thing, though, that came up today in the Jair Brown post-practice presser, and Matt Barrows and I were talking about it after he left the podium, is that Jair Brown has taken the time to spend time in the quarterback room, and it's really genius. And he said, he was asked, well, what are you doing there? Do you talk a lot? Do you ask a bunch of questions? And he's like, nope. He goes, I'm just close my mouth and I listen. He goes, I listen to what Kyle says to the quarterbacks. I listen to what the quarterbacks say about the coverage. And if you're a safety, getting inside the mind of a quarterback is the job description. You're a better player if you know the mentality of a quarterback. And what better way to know the mentality of a quarterback than to sit in the quarterback room and listen to the coaching points and listen to the quarterback, to the coaches and what they are telling the quarterbacks about where to go with the ball and how to read the coverage and how to read the safety and how to manipulate the coverage. And for Jair to go kind of almost behind enemy lines, to go into the quarterback room, and you don't go in there going, hey, I know everything. You're like, hey, I just want to listen. I want to soak it up. I want to get inside Mac Jones's head. I want to get inside Brock Purdy's head. I want to get inside Tanner Mordecai's head. I want to find out, what are they thinking? What were they coached to do on these different plays? So he have more of a mentality of the quarterback, and that is going to make him a great player. And it was really smart. I thought that was really, really interesting. Then we talked to Ricky Pearsall after practice, and I mentioned to Ricky, I said, Ricky, you look stronger, you look more sudden. Have you done the reps with Brock? And he's like, yeah, it's like he's really motivated, you can tell. It's funny, he admitted to us that he revisits the San Francisco shooting in his mind often. I thought that was really interesting, and that he kind of let us behind the curtain on that one. He thinks he's better this year against man-to-man coverage than he was a year ago. He's very impressed by Jordan Watkins. He told me that. I asked him about Watkins. He said he's really appreciative to have veterans like Demarcus Robinson and Russell Gage in the room. He's told us that we should really get to know Mac Jones. He's like, Mac's hilarious. He's like, he really likes Mac. So we're hearing a lot of good things about Mac Jones, by the way, that, he's a funny guy, that he's a smart guy, that he's picking up this offense at a really fast pace. It was definitely a very interesting conversation with Ricky. A couple more thoughts on today's practice going through my notes. CJ West had one of the most amazing plays today. He forklifted Drake Nugent in the one-on-ones, and Nugent literally left the ground. He literally forklifted this guy, and Drake Nugent, who's about 285, left earth and was in the air. I mean, CJ West on that forklift move, I was just like, what? That was absolutely impressive. That was amazing. I mentioned how good Austin Pleasance looked in the OTAs. He's looking almost as bad in training camp. He's struggling against speed rushers. Bryce Huff has made him look really bad at times. Today, he was getting worked on a speed rush by Robert Beal. Jalen Allen beat him on a speed rush as well. Austin Pleasance struggles with speed rushers. And it might be that he's a guard. He might not have the speed to defend the best speed rushers in the NFL. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays in the preseason. Alfred Collins in the one-on-ones kind of showed that he just doesn't have any real pass rush counters or ways to free himself up. I mean, he gets glued on the blocker pretty regularly. He's a run. You can see why he's strong against run. He's big as a house, but he's going to have a lot of work to do as far as if he's going to mount anything at all as a pass rusher. Also, Kalia Davis had a pancake of Zach Johnson. That stood out. But to me, the two reps that were most amazing, Seabass continues to do his thing, man. Sebastian Valdez beat Connor Colby twice, and he beat him bad. Valdez continues to shine and play at a really high level. The rookie defensive tackle out of Washington looks fantastic. All right, that does it for the breakdown. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner, Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.